Hopefully the entire system doesn't crash out.
All right, we're stable enough, and we're live. Welcome to Dungeons and Dragons Hindsight, and Sound Goblin stuff, things. And my brain stopped making functional sentences. In any case, today we have the last complete book, Complete Champion, the take two of Complete Divine, sort of. I'm Vincent.
Krampus.
I'm Shiv.
I want to green.
And I'm Vincent. Hey guys, the intro here starts with some basic D&D assumptions like deities factually exist, the power of belief can cast spells and stuff, and the religions of D&D worlds are more dynamic than is assumed of worshippers outside of the expected. I mean, not all worshippers of racial deities are necessarily of that race, nor all worshippers of evil gods are evil themselves, etc., stuff like that. And how they worship their gods varies from person to person. In any event, onto the intro chapter, which you would think would be something like trying to explain what makes a champion or something, except, no. The opening chapter is actually about organized religion D&D. And of course, this is 3.5, so rules and numbers, except I don't actually hate this. Basically, if you belong to a church, you can garner affiliation score, which makes you raise your rank in the church by also tithing money, which in turn gives you a benefit of some sort. It's really just akin to magic items or magical locations or something like that. It's just a different advancement system. This lives well within the land of D&D rewards for players, but as those things go, I kind of like the structure. It's not like terribly annoying. It's like here's stuff that gives you like one-time bonuses. Here's stuff that basically acts you can perform that your church looks positively upon, and as you go up ranks you just get these little bonuses of one sort or another. Like, doing too many of these can add cognitive load to players, but if they know that this is coming in advance, they can kind of account for themselves as well, so there's a bit of that. And the passive stuff is just passive stuff anyways. That's just increasing the number in your character sheet for all that matters. Let's see. And past that, also briefs on Dark Churches of Greyhawk and their non-evil worshippers. So if for some reason you had someone in the campaign who wanted to like worship Nerul, I don't know, just to be fucking different, like, just an idea of how you could actually square that circle and make for a like non-evil Nerul worshiper, assuming you want to be a non-evil Nerul worshiper. Working an evil character into your party evil character into a party can be tough, especially. But there are players that can't do that. It really just depends, and it is a decent amount of working with a DM. Usually, if you want an evil character in a party, a non-evil character worshiping an evil god is probably less of an arm twist, however, but you still kind of have to make it even out well enough. It also helps if that evil god is not specifically involved in the campaign, because otherwise you might run into other issues, but that's a different matter entirely. And finally, churches again, but domains, which is a good if you made a deity and want a pre-made church to slap onto it or something like that. Very technically, rules as written in the base book, clerics don't technically have to worship deities, they just have to, or the ones that don't, more embody concepts, which is where the domains come into play, sort of, but are not embody concepts, but worship concepts or something vague. Hence, domain churches, while they don't make a lot of sense, do kind of brush up against that idea a little bit, I guess. But again, they also work well if you just, like, I have a god of the winds. Here's the air domain. This is just a simple one for a church of some sort for him. But in any case, on to chapter 2, options. Starting with ACFs. Actually wrote some notes for highlights from this for once. The totems here, which basically replace your fast movement and DR for some minor buffs. It's a decent menu of options, actually, so it's not the worst thing in the world. Most nobly here, Lion here, by selecting this as your spiritual totem, you just gain pounce. at the just at the cost of fast movement. Sure, I will trade. I will trade that any day. Yeah, it's not even like WoW raising. You just have pounce.
Yep.
Huh.
Nice.
Also, Bard abilities here where you get to trade meh for meh, basically. On the bright side, you lose Fascinate. What do you gain? It's not worth reading. Let's see. The Clerk one here, which Pool of Healing here trades a level 4 spell slot for a Lay on Hands-like ability that starts at 40 HP and increases by 5 per level. Strangely enough, with this one, it doesn't actually scale on a stat. It is just flat scaling.
Yep.
Which, whether this is worth... It's more healing than you're probably going to get out of a level 4 spell slot, especially eventually, because it goes up by like 5 level. Let's see. Other than that, Fighter, which always have the weirdest ACFs in this edition, because no matter what they do, it is effectively like... Okay, it's effectively a feat. It is a very... Because
nothing else to replace.
They do. It's weapon and armor proficiencies. That's about the only other thing they can replace. But of the interesting ones here, Align Strike is just straight up for your level 4 ability. It's a free action. Your weapon gains that alignment, so you can overcome damage reduction. Which is not bad as long as you're a good aligned fighter, basically. As like most things are there's a good chance that there's a good chance that most parties will counter like demons and devils, like regardless of campaign.
That's a great thing to just replace a bonus feat with.
Yeah. Yeah, just because it's a free action, so it's you're just basically aligned. And if you happen to be lawful or chaotic, you can hit those. That one doesn't come up as much, but it's still nice.
Like hell, even if it took a full round just to apply it, that would still be really worth a bonus feat.
No, full round is where you're asking. You don't have that much time at the beginning of combat, and the combats don't last that long in 3.5 per se. It's eating up your first turn is okay, but you can't have a ton of and then I do this, which doesn't do damage, and then I do that doesn't do damage. And it also depends on how long the duration is. But this being a free action, this is just a give me. This is the equivalent of having about half of a weapon enchant, basically, for absolutely free. The other one here that was also very strange, it makes for a very amusing multi-class build, is Armor of God here. So it's an immediate action. You can reduce your your base will save to 0 to gain armor class equal to the amount you reduced it by. So a level 8 fighter, because you have to be level 8 to get this, has a base will save of +2.
Yep.
However...
What if you're multiclassing?
Yeah, if you're multi-classing past that and just grab everything that has a good attack bonus and a good will save, you can very quickly make this really stupid.
At the cost of, oh god, please don't throw something that has a will save attached to it at me.
Well, it's an immediate action, so you actually... If you know that's on the board, you just don't use this ability.
Yeah.
Also, in general, fighters are please don't throw something that has a will save at me, but that's a different matter entirely.
Not wrong.
You can also solve this by just becoming undead or something.
Then you have a whole bunch of other problems, but anyway.
Yes, you do. Let's see. Resolute is better for fighter dips who are not going to be attacking. Yeah, because this can be on 8, basically at level 2. Immediate action, reduce your base attack bonus by half, gain that bonus on will saves. Not exactly the best thing for a fighter, but if you have to be, like, I don't know, an arcane caster that for some reason took 2 levels of fighter or something. I'm stretching on this one, but it might actually do something. Let's see. Let's see. Holy Strike, which is strange in the sense that it is just straight up extra damage. It's like, hey, instead of your punch being magical, it's good aligned. Oh yeah, it also just does a d6 extra damage. You're just replacing the one... Occasionally, someone who actually makes one of the Monk ACF features realizes that Monk is really underpowered and we get doing this the fuck up.
It's fine.
Should also be noted, from what I remember, I might be remembering this wrong, if you actually do have an Amulet of Mighty Fists, that gives you an enhancement bonus on your fists and effectively makes them magic anyways.
Yep.
Yeah, so this is, for most monks, not actually costing you anything. Beyond that, let's see. Yes, Holy Warrior, which is probably one of the better give up your casting on Paladin, but it's also just not worth giving up your casting on Paladin at this point.
Not for 4 feats.
Not for 4 feats. Basebook casting, if
Basebook
casting, absolutely, it would be worth it for 4 feats. The problem is, by now, Paladin spellcasting is just really good at this point.
I am slightly amused by the fact that you would make a Paladin alternate class feature called Holy Warrior, like that isn't already basically what they are.
Well, you know.
The others are posers.
They couldn't get away with Holy Diver.
There's been a schism in the Paladin Church.
Down too long in the Midnight Sea.
Let's see. And Underdark Knight here. Extra stuff all underground instead of mount, or you could have Charging Smite. This is the same problem with everything that replaces special mount. It's like, is this worth it over special mount, especially if you're in an underground campaign? Absolutely. Is it worth it in place of Charging Smite, which also replaces your special mount? No, probably not. Also, on this one, you could drop the underground part from all of these. This would be actually good. It's actually solid enough. The problem is it only functions while underground. Let's see. Champion Wild, which gives up ranger spells for feats. Again, at this point, just not worth it. If you have just this in the base book, then absolutely worth it. But at this point, it is not worth it for ranger to give up its spells. Ranger has been given enough good spells that you generally probably want to keep them still. Let's see. Yes. Death's Rune here, which is you can give up, which trades out Trap Sense to do half your sneak attack damage to undead, which, if this is familiar to, anyone who's seen our Dungeon Escape video, because there's an ability called Penetrate Strike at Dungeon Escape, except it works for everything, but that one only works off flanking. This one will actually work in other circumstances.
Okay.
The Penetrate Strike's still better because it works on basically everything and not just undead.
Yep.
And 90% of the time, if you're sneak attacking as a rogue, you're flanking. Honestly.
Yep.
Let's see. Holy Stalker is also great for undead campaigns. Yep, rarely places Complete Strike as well. Channel Positive Energy. Yeah, this one is extra 2 damage. Extra 2 damage per sneak attack die that we'd normally have when you're attacking undead. And it's completely silent. This isn't an instead of per se. It's just you normally wouldn't roll those dice unless you have another feature that lets you roll those dice, like Death's Ruin or Penetrating Strike, or just that fucking augment crystal attachment to weapons for in the Magic Item Compendium that just lets you do full sneak attack damage to undead. Which is, I think, the best option out of all of those, honestly. Let's see, beyond that. Sorcerer over here gets Divine Companion, but that's hardly anything to remember or care about. But also Domain Access. This will be important for later, but yeah, there is something else interesting for that. And finally here, Spontaneous Divination. Let's see, this one is just give up one of your bonus feats, but now you can spontaneously cast. I think this was everything from the Divination School. Just everything from the Divination School. Somebody forgot to write any sort of boundary on this. Doesn't explicitly say you have to actually know that divination spell or have it in your spell book or anything. You just cast it.
I foresee no problems with this.
No problems whatsoever. remember to never ever learn any divination spells because I don't need to because I took this feat at level 5.
That's
Or
the
pseudo
power
feat
of
at level 5. Let's see. Alright, now on to feats. Alright, so we'll start with the... Well, okay. We'll start with the smaller part of the feats section. Because they introduced a new feat in this one, which we'll get to in a minute. Let's see. Awesome Smite, which is probably one of the best tactical feats I've seen. This only applies when you're power attacking with Smite. That being the only negative, but you only ever have to take a -1, and honestly, if you're power attack, there's a good chance that if you're smiting, you've got an enormous bonus to hit it after a certain point anyways, because it's generally going to be your first attack, and you're also adding charisma, and you're generally buffing charisma a bit. So it's just that much more on your first attack, and again, you only have to take a -1. But yeah. And the bonuses themselves were actually halfway decent. So, Demolishing Smite lets you ignore damage reduction equal to twice your Charisma modifier for sign you're hitting, or Overwhelming Smite, which also lets you make a trip attack with no follow-up, so if it fails, it doesn't matter. And Seeking Smite, which was the other good one on this, really, because, yeah, you just ignore mischance. Yeah, it's like this isn't bad, just because it's like, hey, does it have a DR? No, it doesn't. Granted, it doesn't work on Dash or Epic, but those aren't that common on monsters. Especially Epic, like, unless you're actually playing an Epic level campaign, in which case there's other problems that you're going to be running into. Let's see. Also, Battle Blessing, something that I've been hinting at for quite a while in the Creating Prestige class ones every time we come up to Paladins. And in various other places when we've been looking at spells. So yeah, the prerequisites for this is you need to be able to cast Paladin spells, and this makes it so you can cast standard action spells as swift actions, and full action spells as standard actions. Period. At no cost. It's not a turning attempt or anything, it's just you just do that. Literally, if it wasn't the word Paladin on here, this would actually be one of the most ridiculous feats in the game. But as is, that, like, severely improves the quality of a lot of Paladin spells by just taking this feat. The only limitation is you can't take it until 6th, basically, because you don't actually have Paladin spells until 4th, and you don't get another feat until level 6, if you're going straight Paladin. But other than that, this is a really solid feat for any Paladin to take. Let's see. Also, Swift Wild Shape, which... So, Fast Wild Shape was in Complete Divine. It lets you or Wild Shape as a move action. Swift does it as a... Or Swift, by its name alone, it is a dead giveaway. Lets you do it as a Swift action. This is more important because it's a prerequisite for... Or, well, it's not prerequisite, but it comes up in Bestial Charge up here, which... If you charge the round that you Wild Shape, you can choose one of these benefits, which includes just straight up half pounce. Or I didn't have to repass that, honestly. It's like this is yet another way of gaining bounce. Or if you already have pounce, it's just an extra +1. But it does let you actually shapeshift into something other than a cat and still have pounce, basically. Let's see. Beyond that, let's see. Fragile Construct. Yes, Reserve Feats are also back in this book. To briefly re-explain Reserve Feats, you need a spell prepared of some sort or another that we'll mention. So for this one is 3rd level or higher in the Destruction Domain. And the DC for any of these abilities will be 10 plus the level of the spell reference plus your casting stat for that spell. Basically the DC that spell would have. But yeah, this one is a touch attack that for a number of rounds each or caster level, the hardness of that object or construct is reduced by the amount equal to the level of the height. Hardness or damage reduction, so it could also get rid of the damage reduction on a construct. Notably, these are supernatural abilities, so they will work on a construct. Can't reduce hardness or damage reduction below 0. Also, they generally give us a benefit. Holy Warrior here. Let's see. 4th level or higher War Domain spell. Gain a bonus on your weapon damage rolls is equal to the highest War Domain spell you have available. This is actually a fucking large bonus.
Yeah.
Especially at higher levels for just 1 feat.
I mean,
Like-
it is 1 feat for +9.
Yeah. So if you're that battle sorcerer and you happen to have given up your familiar for access to domains, just take the war domain.
Yeah.
Because that is technically an option. Let's see. Retrieve spell here. Yeah, 2 divine feats. Divine feats are the ones that are powered by turn attempts, basically. Why did I put this here? Standard action. Oh yeah, you just straight up recover a spell you've cast for number of turn attempts, or level of spell plus 1 turn attempts. Which is not terrible utility, especially if you have a bunch of turn attempts. And let's see, mitigate suffering. Another. That's right. Reserve feat with the restoration spells. Which I think was here because this was fucking weird. Yes, this is temporary ability points. So if you have a damaged stat, these temporary ability points basically fill in and put it back to where it was, basically. And this is the first time I've seen any, and probably the last time I've actually seen temporary ability points. And hope to never see them again. But that's a different matter entirely.
Yeah.
Let's see. And finally here, Touch of Healing, which is a reserve feat for Conjuration healing spells. Yeah, this is just the standard action that heals the clauses. It can't get them up past half level or half hit points because we can't have nice things. But it's a decent enough combat healing ability. Also, +1 to your caster levels with Conjuration healing spells, which means practically fucking nothing to anything that isn't called heal. Or mass heal. Especially mass heal, because yeah. Yeah. But it has like a cap, I think, of like 25 technically if on scaling. Not that that matters too much.
Yeah.
Once you get past like 170 hit points being healed, the number just stops mattering.
Yeah. Like, yeah, you think eventually caps like 250, but at that point, who cares?
Yeah. If you are actually healing someone who has that many or has more than 170 hit points, you're still probably healing them well before they're into like single digits, just because things are hitting that hard.
You can get up there if you're like a high level fighter or high level like barbarian. You can get a pretty high hit point total, but like that's still going to be 170 hit points is a ton of health. If something is able to easily blow through 170 hit points on a regular basis, then all you're doing is pumping heals in that person to keep them alive.
Yeah, pretty much. And then there's this entire feat for this one page that I cut out because, okay, this is a feat, or this is a metamagic feat that isn't actually metamagic. You don't actually have to prepare ahead of time. It just affects your Conjuration healing spells. Based on whatever domain you have, it basically adds a rider effect. I think notably this one, yeah, lasts a minute per level of the spell for the rider effect. Obviously it doesn't apply obviously it doesn't work if you apply damage. It affects multiple creatures. Okay, it's only one, or wait, yeah, you choose only one of these, but all targets are subject to the same effect. Yeah. But yeah, the effect you get is based on whatever domains you have.
You choose one of the domains you have for that effect.
Yeah. And notable here also is if you're using domains from other publications, there's equivalent domains. This also matters for the new feats in this book, the domain feats. And quite frankly, are most of the feats in the section. So you can only take domain feats that correspond to your deity's domains unless you worship no deity, in which case you can't take domains that are opposed domains to each other. You couldn't take good and evil per se, but you could take air and earth because they're not necessarily opposed. What conflicts and what doesn't is kind of weird by their definition. Like destruction and protection will conflict, but not necessarily the elements. because elemental itself is kind of a concept for gods anyways.
Well, it looks like it is basically good and evil, law and chaos are in conflict. Everything else is kind of up in the air and subject to your DM.
Yeah. Healing and death. Yeah, you might decide healing.
Healing and death might oppose each other, and
Yeah.
likewise destruction and protection. But
Yeah.
like, there's no hard and fast rules for them besides good, evil, law, chaos.
Yeah, I can't think. I can't see other ones offhand that stand out too much.
Like fire and water, maybe.
Yeah. But yeah. In any case, all except for one of these gives you a once per day power that you can get additional uses of by either taking this feat again or spending turn rebuke effects. Also, unless stated otherwise, these are spell-like abilities of caster level equal to your character level. This is not going to matter, but I think we were trying to figure I think we were looking at a prestige class the other day that specifically had spell-like ability or caster level on. Yeah.
A lot of the later prestige classes include like spell-like ability of blank caster level.
Yeah.
As a potential prerequisite.
Yeah. And we determined that still doesn't work with gnomes because gnomes are limited to being level 1 spellcasters with all their spells because we can't have.
But this would break that.
But this does break that, so you could just take a domain feat. Notably, domain feats tend to not have any prerequisites. So yeah, let's start with probably one of the fucking most ridiculous ones, and one that makes me want to try and find out how to get turning attempts on a fighter. Like a travel domain here. Once per day, swift action. As a swift action, you can activate this to move up to your speed as a swift action each round. Thus, you could just move your speed and take a full round action, or move and take 2 other actions. Or this lasts for a minute.
This lasts for a minute.
Yeah. Now, notably, the activation of this itself doesn't move you as this is written, at least as far as I can understand. So it's on subsequent rounds that it applies. It's still really fucking good. And notably, it just costs 2 turn attempts to use this again. So, yeah, that's just good. Let's see. Also, war here once per day. Yeah, that's right. I put this one here to make fun of it, especially if ones later that are just bluntly better than it. Once per day when fighting defensively or doing a full round defense, which fight defensively is a -4 attack to gain +2 dodge. Yeah, instead it's a -3 for a +3, or when you chain level 7, it's a -2 for a +4, 15, -1 for a +5, stacks with combat expertise, yada yada. There are better defensive domain abilities that we'll see on the next page.
Also weird that they gave defensive ability like that to war domain, which typically is like attack and damage boosts.
Yeah, it is kind of feels off theme.
Like,
I mean,
it's out of pocket.
Yeah. I mean, they did give War Domain a really fucking good reserve feat, so there's at least that. So,
They did, but still.
yeah.
Like, the War Domain reserve feat makes perfect sense for what you expect to get in the War Domain. It increases the damage, your weapon damage.
Yeah.
Like, this one makes you fight defensively, and that's just not really there. Like, that makes more sense if you're like a protection domain, something along those lines.
Yeah. And the Water Devotion feat, or the Water Domain feat, by the way, they're all called X Devotion. So interchangeably, I've seen people call them specifically either devotion feats or domain feats. They are technically the subtype domain feat, but devotion is probably a better name for them, honestly. But and they're all called devotion. So water devotion here is unique, and you wouldn't think it would be because it's one of the elemental ones. And yeah, it lets you summon an elemental, which is kind of neat actually, and it scales based on character level with how big the elemental is. Unfortunately, it's a water elemental, but it is the only one of the elementals or the elemental devotions that actually does that. The other ones have different effects. So on to other, like air devotion here, for example. Yeah, once per day, swift action, surround yourself in mental air. You just +1 sacred or profane bonus to AC, increases by 1 for every 4 character levels, so it goes up to a +6. Most characters are not
flatly better than the war one.
Yeah, flatly better than the war one. Also, in addition, thrown and projectile weapons have 50% miss chance to get to all active. It is also lasts for a minute.
I guess technically it is a sacred profane bonus, and you have ways of getting those, but still.
Just a second. Also, the war one costs 3 freaking turn attempts to get a use back, and this costs 1. Oh, no, wait, no, sorry. It also costs 3. They both cost 3. I need to read the next line. But yeah, Sacred or Profane bonuses are basically you get those to AC on, like, cleric spells. I think that's about it. Yeah, for Sacred or Profane bonuses. Let's see. Animal Devotion, which is the most diverse one of them all. Switch action, just pick an animal, and you get some benefit for a minute. Let's see. Fighter is a Sacred or Profane bonus to your strength that increases up to a maximum of +8 at 18. Which is just good.
Yeah.
Let's see. Cheetah, +5 Sacred bonus that keeps going up to a +30. Again, it's a Sacred bonus, so a Sacred bonus to speed is fucking unheard of. I think there might be something that gives you a Sacred bonus to strength when it comes to cleric buffs, but I cannot think of a Sacred bonus to speed. Hawk is straight up a fly speed. It's straight up overland flight and increases in speed as you go up in level. Serpent Strike, here's a bite attack. That also has a con poison on it. Okay, you really didn't need to read past, like... Okay, you almost didn't need to read past Ape's Fury, except just being able to cast Flight on yourself, especially when you're, a non-caster or something. Oh yeah, as a swift action especially, is just good. Chaos Devotion, which was, as usual, funny. Let's see, swift action, activate it, roll a d6. If it's odd, add that number as a bonus to your attack rolls. If it's even, add that as a bonus to your AC. At the beginning of each turn, roll again. At 10, it becomes a d8. At 15, it becomes a d10. Let's see, Destruction, once per day, immediate action, call upon the forces of destruction. While it's active, you temporarily reduce the struck opponent's armor bonus or natural armor bonus by 1. This stacks with itself. To a minimum of just reducing it to 0. If you've reduced their armor to 0, you start working on their natural armor, or vice versa. Once both of those is reached 0, it doesn't do anything. This whole buff lasts a minute, after which they get all their armor back. At 10th level, you do 2 per hit instead of 1 per hit. This is just solid, actually. Especially if you're in a party that's attacking AC a lot, basically. If you just have a lot of martial characters. Law Devotion, once per day swift action. Yeah, +3 Sacred bonus on attack rolls or to your AC until your next action, in which case you to reallocate it from one to the other. Again, 10 becomes 5 and 15 becomes 7. It's probably just played better than the Chaos Devotion, but not as amusing. It says you literally get what you want and don't have to play dice. Luck, swift action. For 1 minute, the result of any damage roll that's below average suddenly becomes average. You cannot roll below average when dealing damage for a minute. Let's see, Earth Devotion here. Immediate action, you just ignore difficult terrain when moving. If you use this ability, or yeah, okay, this has 2 different abilities. If you use it on yourself, you ignore difficult terrain for a minute and gain a +5 bonus on balance, climb, and jump. Sacred or Profane, you get the point. Notably, this will stack for jump bonuses with practically everything as well. Alternatively, you can use it on terrain, in which case you just make things into difficult terrain. A lot of difficult terrain at a certain point, because you get like 6 squares at 18. First square has to be within 30 feet, and everything else has to touch. Notably, things get charged through difficult terrain, so you can use this as a pretty significant tar pit, actually. In addition, this one's more utility in general. At 10th level, yeah, you can also cause stone spikes to grow on any surface that you've made difficult terrain. These are caltrops, except they attack with your attack bonus. Which is amusing as well. And they attack the second they appear, so you can caltrop people immediately. For pittance of damage from what I remember of caltrops. But in general, just, it's versatile at least. Protection Domain here, immediate action, activate Nora, +2 Sacred bonus, or Profane, you get the point. AC. To yourself and every ally within 30 feet. That's the part that actually made this good. It also scales up to like +7. It's just a solid party AoE AC buff. Strength Devotion, once per day. Can bypass hardness with melee attacks for a minute. Yeah. You can absolutely lay waste into that stone wall. You still won't break through because it has a shit ton of HP, but you are ignoring the hardness at least. More importantly, though, you gain a slam attack, so you just gain an extra natural attack. And as usual, for anything that involves natural attacks, they just keep writing sentences that don't make any fucking sense afterwards. If you already have a natural weapon, use whichever value is higher. I'm assuming that's if you already have a natural slam attack and not a bite attack, which would make no fucking sense with slam, but whatever. And it gains a bonus on damage rolls you make with that weapon. Sun Devotion, we'll skip Knowledge for a second because it's a different one. Once per day is a swift action. Cause your melee weapons to glow with the power of the sun. Same as a torch. While it's glowing, you deal an additional point of sacred damage per character level to any undead you strike. That being the more... This can be a lot of damage in an undead focus campaign, and might even be worth turn attempts, honestly. Because this is it's one turn attempt for every additional daily use. This is actually probably pretty solid. I'm just going to beat up undead ability. All right, back to Knowledge Devotion, which remember everything I said about domain feats? Throw all of those out the window, because this obeys exactly 0 of those rolls.
Amazing.
So, upon selecting this feat, you add a knowledge skill to your list. Thereafter, you treat that skill as a class skill, etc., etc. Whenever you encounter something, you can just make a knowledge check, and based on that knowledge check, you get an insight bonus to attack and damage rolls for the remainder of the combat. This is a free action that you can do at any time. You can only make 1 knowledge check per creature type per combat. This is an extraordinary ability. So it is not a spell-like ability. By virtue of being an extraordinary ability, it's a free action. It's also just really fucking good if you just happen to have, like, all of the knowledge skills for whatever reason. This is unusually practically custom-tailored to a factotum, as far as I can tell. I.e. the in-pace character that has 8+ skills, and all skills as class skills, so you could just take all the monster knowledge skills. Yeah. It's also just an amusing feat in general, because this is actually decent scaling, and it's an insight bonus, so there are other things that give you insight bonuses, but this is actually a pretty solid one. And next in here, more PC organizations, and some prestige classes care about these PC organizations, but I sure shit don't. Speaking of which, let's move on to prestige classes. Alright, Fist of the Forest. The nature freak class that can't buy food or sleep indoors. So it gets plus 10 feet to movement, plus its con modifier to AC. I think this was just period. Yeah.
Yep, that is just...
No, well, unarmored. While you're not wearing armor, but is in addition to anything you would get from Monk, for example. Feral Trance is eventually twice per day, which gives you claws that break your shoes and gloves, and gives you a +4 bonus to dex, +2 unarmed damage, and a bite attack for 3+ con rounds with rage restrictions and fatigue. Note, in spite of the fact that you grow claws that break your shoes and gloves, you don't actually gain claw attacks.
They just destroy your ability to wear shoes and gloves.
Yep. You also get better unarmed damage, which is either a D8 that goes to a D10, or increase your monk dice by 1 step if it already goes this. If you already go this far in this class, unsure how it works with the 2 dice ones, but I'm not really worried about it. You also get Uncanny Dodge, Magic Unarmed Strikes, or if you already have that, Lesser Ghost Touch, which either deals full damage half the time, and the rest of the time will deal half damage, and you also gain set. So, clunky design aside, this is 1 level to gain a plus con to unarmored AC and plus 10 feet of speed, at the cost of having someone else buy your meals and sleeping in a tent, which I guess has a rage-like thing that you barely have to care about, honestly.
I mean, all I'm saying is there's no reason not to combine this with Monk and Mallow Poverty.
No, there really isn't.
I don't need to worry about buying my own food if I don't need to eat.
Nope. The only thing you have to pay here is the feat taxes of Great Fortitude and Power Attack, which are not the worst thing in the world. And those skills, which are almost a who cares.
Yep.
Yeah. Also, the special part, but yeah, that's a roleplay thing. Let's see. Forestry, the foresting class that gets once per day move action that gives a weapon an eventual +3 enhancement bonus for 1 minute per character level, plus 10 movement, an eventual 3 times per day, 1 minute 1 minute cast time spell like of your choice of Bear's Endurance, Cure Moderate Wounds, or Lesser Restoration. So the latter two, not Bear's fucking Endurance. Let's see, Woodland Stride, which lets you move through nature, or if you already have it, a plus 10 feet to your movement. Swift Tracker, which does that, it lets you track faster. Camouflage, which is hide in plain sight, but nature only. And once per day, you can talk with rocks and plants. So, once again, the designer forgot that D&D is a combat-oriented game that happens to have non-combat parts, and this will make you feel useless in a combat encounter.
Hey, it gives you a +3 weapon occasionally.
Yes.
So you have better.
Hey, Rock, trip that guy. What? That's the dumbest thing I ever... Oh, I tripped!
That Rock called me a dumb bitch.
Fun fact, Rock's gonna be quite mean.
Joke's on him. I'm gonna throw him in the lake so he drowns.
Right. Holt Warden.
Understand, the Rock said point proven.
Yeah, the Rock is not wrong. Hey guys, Holt Warden, the divine casting class for hippie peoples that the previous two classes also come from. So they get +2 knowledge, nature, and survival, the ability to spontaneously cast from the plant domain instead of what you normally cast from, or not, your choice. You don't actually have to take that feature. Rebuke plants, Woodland Stride, or plus 10 feet of move if you already have it. An eventual 4 times per day, 10-minute cast heal that you can share with pieces of it with others in your party. You can both divide up the healing and the various curing of random status conditions. And I think ability damage was cured by heal as well.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, so that as well. Let's see. Trackless Step, or +4 to hide it and move silently if you already have it. Immunity to poison. Also the ability to talk to rocks and plants, and eventually 3 times per day. Once per day that can give you +8 on social skills versus a creature. A once per day 1 minute cast spell like that gives all who hear it +2 wisdom for D4 hours and a D4 levels of spells back. And Timeless Body, or bonus feat if you already have Timeless Body. While all this is various degrees of meh, this is Clerk Plus, as it comes at the cost of choosing the plant domain, and the heal ability is actually fairly good out of combat.
Eventually 4 free heals a day.
Yeah.
It's not bad. I mean, you can't use it in combat, but sure. And since it does let you distribute it all about, then you can heal up. You don't have to I have to heal 150 points of healing. They're just going to overflow one person's health. You can split it all up.
Yeah, exactly.
And let you do okay, I need to heal these people, but also that person has a debuff. So I remove their debuff and still give heals to everyone else. I think it's nice.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's Cleric Plus, so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You can technically also do it as a druid, but that's less tempting. Unless
you lose actual druid features by doing it as druid, whereas you don't lose cleric features by doing it as cleric, because they don't have any.
Yeah. It's also nice that it has a medium attack bonus and good fort and will, so yeah, even losing stat-wise there. Not those are terribly much of anything, but yeah. Hey guys. Mythic Exemplar, the several classes in one class that gets, at least 4 levels of casting and a bunch of stuff based on your patron, so listing off the simple stuff. So Dardalian will get a +4 to reflex, +2 to dex, 46 sneak attack dice, and a 1 minute per day of incorporeal that can be broken up into individual rounds. You shift in and out of it as a move action. The next one, Imdastry gets +4 will, +2 wisdom, 4 more levels of divine casting, so you get 8 levels of casting total, and spontaneous casting of lower level luck, protection, or strength domain spells. Basically, if you use a 4th level slot, you can spontaneously cast a 3rd level or lower, as an example. Kittelmagne, +4 will, +2 intelligence, +4 arcane casting level, kind of saying 018 total, and spontaneous casting of lower level divination spells from your spellbook. Orsos, which gives a +4 con, or +4 fortitude, +2 con, 4 instances of +2 favored enemy versus aberrations or chaotic outsiders, and +4 on saves versus fatigue and exhaustion and permanent freedom of movement. Reichardt, which gives you a +4 will, +2 charisma, +4 level 2 class-based extraordinary abilities that grant bonuses to allies like Marshall's Aura. No, I'm not sure how much this actually fucking matters. Also choose Fort or Will and give yourself and all allies within 60 feet plus your charisma to that type of save, and a 10 for 10 rounds per and a 10 round per day aura of DR2 dash. And Seniartra, which is a +4 to fort, +2 to strength, +4 to all strength checks and skills. This notably will include combat maneuvers like trip and bull rush, and ignore 15 points of non-epic DR and hardness at all times when you attack. Just probably between that and the freedom of movement is the best of these capstones. You also gain least, lesser, greater, and supreme gifts from your patron, all of which are once per day, with a swift action to use as their default, and duration of class level rounds with a class level as your caster level also as default. But you could also use a higher level one to get another use of a lower level one. So you could use your supreme, basically use any of them, or you could use your greater to use it. Yeah. So in order from least to supreme, so Dardalians is +5 to rogue skills, +4 dex, blink, and greater invisibility. Imdostries is immediate action, reroll a d20, +4 wisdom, immediate action immune to mind affecting up to caster level of your character level +3, and immediate action immune to necrotic and death effects with the same clause as that previous ability. Cultamagne is +5 to nerd skills, +4 intelligence, 1 minute cast identify, and spell resistance 10 plus arcane casting level. Orsos is +20 feet to land speed, +4 con, +4 natural armor, and airwalk. Reichardt is inspire courage as bard of class level that stacks with bard, if you already have it. +4 to charisma, and inspire greatness, same idea as the other one, and dominate person. Seniartra is +1 threat range that stacks with keen, +4 strength, self-only haste, and divine power. Swift action cast divine power of character level. That's okay.
Yeah, not bad.
So this class does things and probably functions. Who thought of shoving 6 classes together was a good idea. Was this class built on a dare? Also, I'd seriously just lean on Seniartra, because I think pretty much everything I said there was pretty solid, honestly.
Seniartra, if you just want to be a battle cleric, works pretty well.
Yeah.
You'd be like a 14th level caster. You get a swift divine power, or a swift strength bonus, or a strength bonus, haste.
It's swift +1 threat range is not bad either.
Haste is not anything you typically have as a cleric either, which is just nice.
Yeah. Okay.
But it is very much a class that's like, what can I do?
Quite a bit, it turns out.
What of these 6 things do I want to shift into?
Yeah, basically. Alright. Ordained Champion. The Divine Law God Brothers class. This is literally both Heronius and Hextor. That loses 2 levels of casting and gets, let's see, the War Domain or Nerd Domain of choice, we already have it. The ability to trade up to 2 domain granted powers for fighter feats. It's level stack for Turn of Rebuke, but doesn't actually give you Turn of Rebuke if you don't have it. Trade spontaneous clerk casting for spontaneous war domain casting. Die Hard feat or a bonus feat if you already have it. Smite as a swift action, costing turn attempts and scaling with your actual turn level, which why the turn scaling. The ability to channel spells into a weapon as a move action, affecting the next thing you hit within 8 hours, so you can actually do that out of combat outright, or on a round where you're doing something else. A swift action that sacrifices a spell for 1+ spell level DR for class level rounds. A swift action that sacrifices a spell for 1+ spell level on melee damage rolls for class level rounds. Quicker spontaneous war domain casting. A swift action that costs a turn attempt and to use your wisdom instead of your strength for attack and damage rolls.
Nice.
Yeah. And
although I do have a complaint about that ability, but continue.
Sure. +2 caster level with war domain spells. So what about that ability?
Well, earlier in this book, you showed off a class ability called Holy Warrior.
Yes. And that's also called Holy Warrior. Well, it's an alternate class feature, but yes, for Paladin. And yes, that is also Holy Warrior. Listen, they repeat themselves a lot. Sometimes they use the exact same name for effects that are completely fucking different. Like, Smite here. Smite is different than Smite.
Smite is different often.
But yeah. I'd say this gives you enough stuff to be worth losing 2 caster levels, though I think you might also want more swift actions somehow on the character, because Jesus Christ, everything I just said was a fucking swift action.
Pretty much everything. Like, it's nice that everything activates those swift actions, so you can still do whatever you need to do in that round and use it. But at the same time, yeah, you will constantly want to be doing swift actions. Like, Holy War itself is great, being able to remove strength as a requirement for your build.
Yeah, and it is 5th level in this. Where did you get into this? So
you get in at level 5. Because 7 ranks would be level 4.
Able to cast magic weapon as a divine spell.
Which I'm pretty sure is just a 2nd level spell.
I think so too. Let's magic weapon.
1st level spell. So yeah, super easy to get into.
Oh yeah, you just tapped up. Yeah, no, this is 5th level. So yeah, you actually get this lower level. That's level 9 before when you have Holy Warrior.
Yep.
Yeah, no, you can pretty much keep that up the whole combat too.
I mean, just use the turn attempts. There's plenty of ways to get extra turn attempts on top of what you already have.
Yeah.
Plus, if you're burning through turn attempts that you run out of enough turns to do Holy Warrior, something has gone terribly wrong in this fight.
Does a shit ton of rounds of combat, because, yeah. You have 3+ charisma modifier, and you're not going to tank your charisma modifier.
Like, and if you do intend to be a battle cleric using it, you're not having it turned on in the rounds you're doing all your buffs. So
no,
your first round or 2 is typically going to be throwing up your attack buffs, and then you can use that after that. So your first 2 rounds of combat are even have it up.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Paragnostic Apostle.
Knowledge is power.
Exactly. Knowledge is power. So another Knowing Things caster class that gets, let's see, it's level added to turn, rebuke, and domain abilities. Lore, which is bardic knowledge, and 5 instances of knowledge is power, which is a menu of choices that, okay, they require knowledge skills, and you can choose some of the abilities multiple times, but not twice in a row. And each choice past the first increases the prerequisite cost by 2. You basically have to have 2 more ranks. Which just means you really just kept putting points in the ability for all it matters. So in any case, they are +1 to range attack rolls with raise. That requires 8 in Arcana. +1 DC for non-damaging effects on damaging spells, which is 6 Arcana. Fast healing 2 plus 1/3 caster level for your summons, 6 in planes. +1 DC for versus a favorite enemy choice. You choose from the favorite enemy menu basically, and you add +1 DCs for your spells versus them, which requires 8 ranks in the appropriate skill depending on what it is.
Knowledge skill for their monster type. Yeah,
and additional choices is just choose a new type each time. +1 caster level for all spells in on a domain list of choice, which 5 religion, and again additional. You can choose additional domains. +1 caster level with 1 of the 4 elements, 5 in planes. You can choose additional elements. Choose an aspect of your alignment. Turn half of the energy damage of your spells into divine versus opposed alignment, which 8 in religion, 10 in planes. Choose the other if you're not neutral. For an additional choice. +1 caster level with healing and transmutation spells that grant bonuses or penalties. 7 nature or religion for that one. +2 hardness and hit points for things your spells make, and +2 AC granted by your armor bonuses from your spells. 5 in architecture and engineering. +1 caster level for spells that change physical forms, 6 in nature, +1 versus spell resistance, and to dispel, which is 9 Arcana, +1 DC for necromantic spells versus undead, and +2 to turn or rebuke with 7 religion, +1 caster level for teleportation, and +10 foot movement to movement speeds granted by or increased by your spells. If it's a bonus to your movement speed, it increases by 10. If it gives you a flight speed, it will increase by 10. Stuff like that. Well, it doesn't cost you much. You get 5 trinkety abilities, none of which are all that amazing.
Yeah, it's a bunch of add 1 to this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of options, but
yeah. There's some okay stuff.
World changing.
No. The better ones are +2 AC granted by armor bonuses from your spells if you happen to be doing something weird there.
That one is at least nice, because we've already seen cases where you could do a 1 level dip into this to make shield better.
Yeah.
Because you're not losing anything if you're going into it. Especially when you have that Abjur the class we rated the other day, the whole Abjur force effect one where you could basically supercharge a shield spell and add 2 more onto it, get 11 shield AC out of a single first level spell.
Yeah, that one.
That'd be cute, but
Ardent something, I think. Oh well.
Yeah, I view this kind of as if you really want one of these knowledge is power effects, find the 1 or 2 you actually care about, dip into it for those levels, then immediately leave.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. Now on to the other Paragnostic Initiate, the other ranks in knowledge menu class. So it gets assist casting, which gives you an immediate action to give the adjacent caster +1 spell pen, as well as removes the firing into melee penalty for spellcasters against things you're adjacent to, and gives adjacent foes a -1 to reflex saves against ally spells, and makes it so casters flank you if you don't provoke for casting. You also get 3 instances of Tactical Combatant, which is knowledge is power, all that explanation from earlier. Lane you choose from, +2 to saves versus spells of one of the 4 energy types. The 4 planes is repeatable, just choose a different energy type. +2 damage versus objects and constructs, 4 in architecture or in engineering. +2 to confirm criticals, 4 in nature. +2 to attack versus ranger family or enemy list, 5 in appropriate skill, repeatable, etc. +1 caster level to spells you cast are cast upon you from a domain of your choice, which requires 4 in religion. Choose an ability score. You either get a + or -2 to modifiers from spells cast by others against you, your choice, whenever spells cast on you. 6 in nature, repeatable with different ability score choices. +2 to saves versus negative energy and opposed alignment spells, 5 in religion or planes. And spellcasters you flank cast defensively, 6 in Arcana. Which sounds great until you realize they can take a 5-foot step.
Yeah, I was about to say, it sounds great until they leave. They just take a step away and they're not next to you anymore, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So this is a strange one as far as support classes go, but it feels like it lacks much in the way of oomph, honestly.
At least it has full BAB.
It does have full BAB, a good reflex of forward, and good amount of skills. I can't say it has no offense. That's about the best I can say about it. I can't say it has no offense.
Yeah, it's just it doesn't do anything flashy, but it's not like it's a class that doesn't do anything flashy but is still really effective. It just doesn't do anything flashy and is kind of there.
Yeah.
I guess it's nice if you have the spellcasters in your party to support with the whole let them ignore the targeting penalties.
Which is
ignore AOs for casting in combat, but oftentimes, much like his ability to turn off cast or defensive casting, a 5-foot step is typically an option.
Yeah. Also, they tend to have all spellcasters tend to have decent concentration checks because they know they'll be casting combat.
Yeah, it's also an ability that at a certain point just doesn't matter.
Yep. Okay, Sanctified One, the godly champion class for deities that don't attract paladins as much. They get 2 levels of spellcasting over 5 levels, proficiency with their deity's favored weapon, and additional class skills and menus of abilities based entirely on what god you're a champion of. So, Alonitha, you get three of the following. Once per day, standard action, consecrate, centered on you. You can choose this one more than once. Once per day, Hero's Feast. Once per day, natural pocket, which is a natural pocket space, which is akin to rope trick, but somewhere in nature. This is one of the 2 nature gods in Greyhawk, basically. Once per day, swift action, summon a unicorn or griffin for an hour. You can actually choose this one more than once. And the capstone of Fast Healing 5. Chord. You get 3 choices from this menu. Once per day, ignore all damage and effects from a crit against you. You literally take 0. You can choose this one more than once. Once per day, change a fire spell to doing good aligned divine damage. Once per day, advantage on d20 roll. You can choose this one more than once. And once per day, 2 times your class level to strength for 1 round. You can choose this more than once, and rules as written as a standard action, and therefore fucking useless. And the capstone of choose a 24-hour buff from +2 strength, +2 luck bonus to saves, and +10 feet speed every day.
Okay.
You switch between them. It's probably the save or strength bonus, but you can change between it if you want to. Let's see. Alatamara, so 3 from the menu here of once per day, immediate action evasion or improved evasion if you already have evasion for you and all allies within 60 feet for 1 round. You can choose this one more than once. A free reroll of each disabled device check you make. That's not once per day. That is as much as you fucking want. On the other hand,
yeah, but
it's disabled. I'm just pointing that out.
You're not wrong.
I'm pointing that out because the vast majority of what I've said has been once per day. Everything I've said before has been once per day. We're actually going to run the stuff that isn't. Once per day, immediate action to plus your base reflex save to AC for 1 minute. You can choose this one more than once. And plus 1d8 damage, sneak attack damage for every 2 class levels if you already have sneak dice only. And the capstone on this one is a once per encounter immediate action diplomacy check to try and stop yourself from being attacked.
Oh,
It is cute, and I'm summarizing that a lot because it is way more dice rolling than it should be for a single fucking ability, but... Alright, so we just gives you 3 of, nope, we just can actually have paladins. We just it gives you 3 of, plus class level to your armor or shield bonus. Once per day, swift action, immune to poison, sleep, paralysis, stun, disease, and death for 1 minute, and can choose this one more than once. Though it is a swift action, so... let's see. Immediate action. After falling into negatives or killed with a death effect, you can cast a spell or make an attack with plus your class level to the caster level or to your attack roll. Let's see. No, that's not once per day. That is literally every time you're put into negatives or killed with a death effect.
Yeah, I can just every time I get knocked negative or killed death effect, I can cast a heal on myself.
Yeah, which is cute. Yeah. And once per day, plus into caster level, or plus intelligence modifier for a caster level, you can choose that one more than once. And the capstone of choose one of your highest level spells and gain a cast of it as a spell-like ability once per day. Every time you gain a level, you can choose what spell that is. So, extra highest level cast of a spell. So. Yeah. What the fuck is with the menu choices in this book? I mean, this is fine. We're moving on.
On to our next menu choice.
Thankfully, no.
Oh, God.
Shadow Spy, the Skill Monkey Pelor hybrid class that gets half casting progression, plus class level to Skies and Hide, wisdom times per day, swift action that doubles the range of all light sources within 60 feet of you. 3 bonus feats from a list that is, it's fine-ish. It's fine. Immunity to blinding spells and effects. Undetectable alignment. Plus half class level to hide while in areas where light is present. Class level times per day zone of truth. Twice per day 15-foot cone that is a reflex or blind for d6 rounds. At will discern lies. Hide in plain sight. In sunlit locations, seriously call it something fucking else. And 3 times per day true scene. Well, this is nothing as far as utility is concerned. You do get a bunch of skill points as well from this class. That half spellcasting progression is harsh as there's no non-casting combat features here, but like the blindness effect, but it's
like half
it's
casting
weird.
progression, and it's not even a like you have to be a cleric or paladin.
Yes, you must specifically be a cleric or paladin. Realistically, you're probably being a cleric.
Paylor, but yeah.
Yeah. You're the cleric or paladin that's dipped into rogue, or alternatively the other way around. But the problem with the other way around is you don't get really sneak attack dice scaling progression, so it's kind of weird too.
Yeah, because like even if you were like a 9 rogue, 1 cleric, 10 this, you don't have sneak attack progression, which is your main source of damage as a rogue. So you're missing out on 5d6 on every attack.
On the other hand,
Realistically.
you can get into this at 4.
Yes.
Yeah, because none of the devotion feats have prerequisites practically. That's level 1 spells, and that's just 6 ranks of skill.
Yep.
Huh.
I mean, I don't really know what good that gives you. It's like
I don't know either, but you just can.
Like, I'm going to get in this early, do like 2 or 3 levels, then go into something better. This is like, whatever.
It's a bonus for your level 2, immunity to blindness. I don't know.
If it was like 8 levels of casting instead of 5, maybe you could try and finagle something out of it. But losing 5 casting levels is a lot.
Yeah, I was wondering what you could do with 2 levels in this class. It's like, good bonus on disguise and hide, I guess. No, that's equal level. That's a couple points. You only lose a caster level there, but I'm not sure what you're gaining other than like immunity to blind and a bonus feat from an OK list.
Yeah, that's really. I mean, there's an extra turning on there, so yeah.
Yeah, there's extra turning on there. Yeah,
which is fine.
Yeah.
But
all right, Shadow Striker, the Pelor Heronius hybrid martial class that gets a holy symbol of both gods and gives you clout with both churches. Wisdom times per day weapon buff that makes it a light source and adds 2 times your class level to damage versus evil aligned things and undead. A smite evil, possibly another action to further enhance your weapon for a plus d6 fire damage and the daylight spell once per day that can get more uses from turn temp. From turn temps, smite evil or spontaneous spell slots. And the capstone Surge of Piety that shakens any undead and that touches you for 1 round, and also gives you a once per day full action, which consecrates and deals a D8 damage to undead within 30 feet for no save, can be boosted all the way up to 68 at the cost of smite. Uses of smite evil, uses of turn attempts, or spell slots. You can actually use level 1 spell slots, strangely enough, on that.
Yeah, I don't think
it's still probably also a no, but no.
And also a terrible smite.
Yes, because it is.
It's smite as paladin. You have 3 levels in this class.
Yes. It's add your charisma to attack, really.
You do get to add your charisma to attack to single attack.
I think it's meant as a weird martial offshoot for Favorite Soul, as far as I can tell.
Yeah. Like, I think it might be something intends for you to go into as a paladin, because like they do the smite evil attempt stays attained from multiple sources stack.
Yeah.
So it'd be an extra smite. You could use a full on paladin smite, but
yeah. But yeah, I can't say it's awful. It makes me feel like I should be doing something else with my class levels at the same time, because I'm pretty sure they've gone over this concept several times. Only better. Yeah. Alright. Squire of Legend. It's a fucking menu class. Anyways, it gets 2 levels of spellcasting over 3 levels. The ability to take a penalty on reflex save AoE to give an ally the same in the same AoE a bonus equal to the penalty you took. A choice of 1 of 6 paragons from earlier that give you +2 to a save depending on the paragon, and a least, lesser, or greater Squire's Burden, which are default Swift actions. Okay, the duration here is 2 times your class level, the caster level is 3 times your class level, and higher tier uses can instead be used for lower tier uses.
Same as the other one. Yeah.
So Dardalian is Flanking for you and an ally against a foe is you just both have to threaten them. This goes away when you stop threatening that foe. Immediate action, give an ally within 30 feet a reroll on a save, skill or ability check, and one ally within 30 feet can move through threatened squares without provoking for 2 rounds. Let's see. Industries is Sanctuary, shield others for 3 times class level rounds. And one ally within 30 feet gets immunity to one of the following for 3 times class level rounds: disease, exhaustion, fatigue, mind affecting, negative levels, or poison. Cogmagne is comprehend languages, see invisibility for 3 times class level rounds, or swift action to take over concentrating on a spell for an ally. Orsos, speak with animals, lesser restoration, one ally gains 10 energy resist to one energy type for 3 times class level rounds. Reichardt is give an ally an action depending on what you spend to use his ability. So if you spend a swift action, I guess 5-foot step, you move gives a move and standard gives a standard. Let's see, an ally gains another. That's their first ability. An ally gains another use of a once per day ability is their second one, and the third one is plus 50% to range and duration of an ally's ability as an immediate action. Let's see, and Sunyatra is immediate action, just negate a crit. It's normal damage, but it's anywhere. True strike on an ally, and immediate action, reroll an attack or crit confirm for an ally. This continues to be a lot of once per day options.
Yep, sure does.
It's also just 3 levels, so at least there's that, I guess. But
and you can get into it level 5.
Yeah. All right. Spells. And more specifically, a spell that I actually cared about. Let's see. So, Aligned Aura is only here because I wanted to rant about something. So, basically, it's also a type of spell that comes up here where it is a minor effect, and then you can expend the rest of the charges to get something out of it. So, this one, you get a bonus that your allies gain a bonus depending on alignment. The enemies get a penalty depending on alignment. Yeah, anyone who shares an alignment gains a bonus. Anyone who's opposed alignment and makes a fortitude save or takes this penalty. Okay, that's what I want to rant about. The penalties are a -1 to saving throws, a -1 to armor class, a -1 to attack rolls, or a -1 to damage rolls. Who the fuck cares? You don't need the fortitude save for this part. The save for the big ass damage part? Yeah, sure, fine. What the fuck? I might just
Have you considered we could make you take a fortitude save?
No, I'm auto-failing it. As the DM, I might just auto-fail it. I don't care. I'll auto-fail it and forget about the penalty anyways. Bewildering Visions is only really here to point out the fact that there are new spells for both Adept, the NPC class, and Shugenja. This is the only place in this book where it refers to Shugenja, by the way. Shugenja is not mentioned anywhere else in this book. They just remembered it for the spells section, apparently.
Of course.
Let's see. Darts of Life here were kind of interesting in the sense it's actually more healing than usual for the level, give or take, because I believe this was 10 darts that you gotta launch 1 as a free action, 3 as a standard action, or for all action, launch all of them. They heal a d8. Alter Licking Damage Undead. So it is 10d8, which is generally more than you get out of 5th. Yeah, it's double the amount of dice, but you can get flat you normally would from a 5th level spell slot. So depending on the caster level, I also don't remember what the Cure Wounds line, and it's 1 short of heal, which would make it useless. Let's see. Divine Presence. +5. Oh yes, this one. Or no, yeah, it's +5 sacred bonus or profane bonus. There's an intimidate checks to anyone who doesn't worship your deity. They have opposed alignments of +10. Someone who's diametrically opposed +15. Interesting bonus to actual intimidate. No, paladins cast a swift action. Let's see, Light of Purity here. Oh yes, this is a stand-in. The effect isn't that interesting, but there were like 4 different Light of Insert the Blanks, which are a swift action that actually affects your holy symbol, and generally affects your turn attempts in one way or another. This one increases the turn damage, not to be confused with turn level.
Yep.
And if you're asking what the difference is, it doesn't matter. You're using your turn attempts to do anything else at this fucking point. If you, let's see, Divine Retribution here, which is also another stand-in. So there are a decent chunk of spells where what it does depends entirely on what god you worship. From all the Greyhawk gods. Let's see, Door of Decay here was amusing in the sense that, here's a teleportation spell, except you're traveling through negative energy plane. And I believe you are literally stepping in and out of an undead creature. Also has a higher caster level for distance than if you actually worship a god of death. A god associated with both death and magic, which strangely enough covers both Weejuss and Vecna. Let's see, Healing Circle here. Once per round standard action, drain a charge from this to... Oh, that's like cure critical, cure serious. So this is basically a cure critical, serious, and moderate wounds as one thing. And an extra 5 healing, just because. Let's see. Footsteps of the Divine, which is kind of an interesting subversion of the previous one, because, as you could tell from this chart, it is a buff that gives you movement speed, except you could actually choose one that's not of your god. It's just half duration if you do. So, so if you worship, like, the elf god, you get plus 40 feet to your base land speed, but if you need to fly, you can instead just gain, like, perfect flight, and the duration's half. Let's see. Iconic Manifestation. Swift Action, which already makes it decent. Honestly. Let's see. Matches non-neutral component of your alignment. If you're neutral, you can't cast a spell at all. Once you cast it, let's see. This was a 10-minute buff. Oh, that's right. You can actually add literally the template from the non-neutral part of your alignment to your wild shape. Or to yourself. And I believe it carries over into your wild shape at the cost of wild shape attempts. Once invoked, it becomes a 1 minute per level, so it's already a swift action to cast it anyways. Let's see, Lord of the Gods, which is also amusing with the knowledge domain. So plus 5 insight on all knowledge checks. At any point before it expires, you can make one, blah, blah, blah. If you worship a deity that has access to the knowledge domain, it's actually a plus 10.
Okay.
And it's to all knowledge checks, which is generally not as, It's not something you can find on a magic item. They'll generally be a specific knowledge check.
Yeah.
Let's see. Master Cavalier here, which was just... Again, I will point out this is a paladin spell, and is actually kind of amusing if you were doing the writing thing, because, let's see. Plus 10 bonus on ride checks. If you have special mount or a class feature, it's actually a plus 20. Notably, from what I remember, ride checks can negate hits against your mount. And again, a paladin can cast this as a swift action, technically, if they take 1 feat.
Yes, ride checks with mounted combat can be done to negate hits against your mount.
Yep. So if another player is a horse. But that aside, this is also one of the stacking spells, so if you have this and Phantom Charge and more mount, which, more notably, Phantom Charge wasn't actually bad either, from what I remember here, because, let's see, cast a spell while mount, mount or mount-size Fiendish Companion, yeah, because it works with Black Art as well, that's why the Fiendish Companion language. Let's see. That's right, this let you actually during its movement, it can teleport up to 5 feet per 2 caster levels on your mount. And you can use... Yeah, you can use a spell to go over rough terrain that normally prevent charge, and... Yeah. Can move both before and after this takes effect for all it matters, but it's just actually fairly decent. And for some reason, if you cast this one as well, you gain the added bonus of your mount is flying now.
Fly speed.
Yeah.
Yep.
This one wasn't all that great because I believe it just buffed up the mount itself, but it gives you a fly speed with the other two.
Yes, gives it enhanced bonus to attack and damage rolls.
Yeah. And they're treated as both magic and aligned. Yeah. Let's see. Sacred item here, which I believe was here because this is actually a permanent spell until discharged. Which, yeah, you imbue an object with positive energy. So if it's such an undead creature of any alignment or outsider or shapechanger of evil alignment, does a D4 positive energy per caster level. Because this has no fucking ability to wear off whatsoever, if you happen to have an archer in the party and you just put this on every one of his fucking arrows over the course of a week of travel.
It is a good way to spend a lot of fourth level spells you don't need otherwise.
Yep. I'm just saying, this is why you don't make spells have a permanent duration. Alright, divine items here. So, first off, it starts with some divine sundries and various minor enhancements for spells, basically. It's just like, it uses a spell, it gives something else, like, yeah, it lets you do 2 just spell checks and bear a result for the Ashes of Power. Just minor little trinkety things there. Also, slightly special holy symbols of specific gods. So, like the Bolt of Erroneous here, when you cast good domain spells or spells that have the good descriptor, adds 1 caster level. Little things like that on all of them. Armor and weapons are thankfully in the new format from Magic Item Compendium. Also, they actually built set bonuses in here. So, if you take a look at the Bastion of Righteous War here, down here it will say Bastion of Righteous War is part of a set known collectively as Regalia of Righteous War, which includes the Blade of Righteous War, the Helm of Righteous War. I think one of them is scaling. Most of them are generally you have to have the whole set, and then added bonus of one sort or another. As far as the magic items are concerned, nothing was terribly interesting other than the Gauntlets of War over here. I think was the only thing that really drew my attention all that much, because it was yeah, hands, which are only 4k, plus 1 bonus on melee damage, but if you worship a god with the war domain, it's plus 3 bonus instead with the deity's favored weapon. There's a few hoops to jump through, but it might be a decent amount of damage, depending on whether or not you need your hand slot. But a favored soul generally doesn't need its hand slot for much anyways. Let's see. Book of Knowledge here. Oh yeah, Book of Knowledge is demonstrating. Also in here, there's occasional, if you worship Bokob, blah blah blah, or various other gods like that. It's basically just a much looser relic system where it's like, it has a magic effect already, and a little bit more if you actually happen to worship that deity one way or another. Also domain staffs here, which are akin to basically the rune staffs from Magic Item Compendium, possibly from somewhere else. I don't remember where they came from, somewhere else beforehand. But like domains, these are all once per day. You basically get to use a spell, a divine slot of divine spell or divine spell slot, depending on how you cast, of their level or higher to cast that spell. And finally, holy questing or something, just divine quests and sites. So this is an example of how churches can see certain plots through the lens of like the non-alignment domains rather than gods. So Elemental Wellsprings is a sample holy quest where it's like, you guys need to stop these fire elementals from corrupting this wellspring, and here's how seen through various domains as to why you'd want that not to happen, including fire, oddly enough. Just a little thing like that. And the other thing in here, holy sites, which is same as the other magical locations or sites of legend or whatnot, which is basically like kind of weird pseudo magic item rewards. It's the same idea. Has a certain number of charges, gives a special ability for a duration, which is fairly long. Here's the value of that ability, etc. Notably at the end is also like adaptations. Like any deity with spellcasting, you could basically substitute like this one, the Athenaeum of Bokob, for any other deity if you really like that. It's basically just a magical knowledge deity. And finally, there's the back of the book. So that's Complete Champion. Completely complete. We've completed the complete books. So yeah, I would honestly say the Feats section is easily the strongest part of this book, and I really wish I could actually get like turning attempts on like martial characters somehow.
I liked a lot of the alternate class features.
Yeah, there's a decent amount of interesting ones there. In general, this has a nice collection of stuff to modify characters, both between the feats and the alternate class features. I honestly think the weakest part is probably the prestige classes, but I'm a little bit biased at having to read out 1.5 billion menu choices.
Yeah.
A deeper dive into them, some of them are probably halfway decent, but that's a different.
It is funny to think of most of these classes as like the automated telephone response system. If you worship Ouijas, press 1.
Oddly enough, that's the one I probably liked the most on them, but they only did like 4 deities for it. And it's like, there is a make up your own, but it's like, how about no? But I do like this template at least. But yeah, overall, it's a good book, honestly. It does what completes books do. It gives you more character options. And honestly, I wish there was more of domain feats, or if there was just a feat that gave you like, I don't know, 3+ con bonus turn attempts that can only be used on domain feats or something. I'm stretching here, but something like that for like fighter, or like an alternate class feature. Because I'd honestly say the domain feats are probably some of the most powerful feats I've actually seen straight up. Other than things that augment spellcasting, which tends to be transparently stupid. But like Divine Metamagic. Mostly because they put exactly 0 guardrails on Divine Metamagic, so... Yeah, who cares if the equivalent spell level for the spell is 15? You can still fucking cast it with the Metamagic. Have fun. But yeah, anyone else have anything to say on this?
Not particularly. I think we've gone over most of the stuff.
Yeah, not that I have.
Yeah. But yeah, in general, also since this is actually the closeout for the complete series, I do kind of miss this series. In general, I think 5th edition. One of my prime complaints of 5th edition is they don't produce that many character options over time. Is way more shallow than 3.5, but that's not a fucking bar. That's that is suicide levels of insanity to make this much content, and most of it is garbage anyways. So, or not most of it, but okay. Well, I don't know if it gets to a majority, but a decent chunk of it is probably garbage. But I'd like at least 5th edition to turn up the amount of content, and complete books would be a good option for that. They don't have to produce anywhere near as much content per complete book as these things do, especially since a lot of the options were bad. But like even just half of the amount of good stuff, I'd be satisfied with it. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all for this book. So I guess we'll move on to the next thing.